The left has taken over education, academia, the media, Hollywood. Part of the reason I'm making films is to contest the left on territory that it regards as exclusively its own.
Do you worry that California is a harbinger of things to come for the rest of the country?
I do. I mean, it's going to be a long way to make places like Oklahoma City or Dallas, into LA. It's not easy to do. And my daughter, for example, who's grown up as a California girl, she thought California is all there is. And so when we go to premieres for the film and she sees all these young kids who are, who are exuberantly conservative, she's like, I didn't even know these people existed in America. Because her life is California and Dartmouth. But there's a whole country in between. And so we're going to do our best to make sure that California becomes more like the rest of America, not the other way around.
You hear a lot about the deterioration of California from a lot of critics. What does an America look like without a California?
Well, California, as you know, was Nixon country, it was Reagan country. It's sort of heartbreaking to see the way it's become sort of captured by the left. And I think the problems of California are a good illustration of what happens with left-wing governance. It messes things up. Detroit is another example. We use Detroit in the film as a metaphor for what Obama's doing to America as a whole. So I think these are warning signs. Part of the problem is that conservatives have focused on the electoral battle and ignored the culture war. So the left has taken over education, academia, the media, Hollywood. Part of the reason I'm making films is to contest the left on territory that it regards as exclusively its own.
And would you say that, when we're talking about the different narratives that we see play out in campaign season year after year after year, that the reason it seems the right is losing ground is because they don't engage in the culture war?
Yes, I think that's true, but I think more than that, the right also concedes the issue of justice to the left. Obama always talks about fair share, social justice. Why? Because justice is a core issue in politics. It might be the primary issue. Emotionally, if you and I see something grossly unjust, we will immediately respond with horror. And the left taps into that. And sometimes as conservatives, when we hear justice, we reply, freedom.
Sure.
But freedom is only... freedom is not a trump card over justice. You need to address justice on its own ground. So I try very hard in my book, America, the film, to engage the left on territory that it claims as its own moral high ground.
The left is all over you. They criticize you oftentimes, probably because of your films and the strides that you're making in a space that isn't typically occupied by conservatives or Republicans. Would you care to share a little bit about the lawsuit and everything that's been happening with you? And some people would say that you were targeted by the Obama administration. Other people say, well, no, it's just the law. What is your, what's the latest?
I did exceed the campaign finance limit. I convinced two of my friends to give $10,000 each to a college friend of mine who was running for the Senate, and I reimbursed them. So I shouldn't have done that. And my point is, look, whatever penalty goes to people who do that, who are not corrupt, who are not trying to make something out of this, or aren't looking for an appointment, just doing it out of the desire to help a friend,
sure,
that penalty should go to me. I shouldn't get any less or any more.
Sure.
And that's the issue of the selective prosecution, and that's also the issue of the equity of justice. I mean, here's Harry Reid, he's taking money from his campaign, he's paying for his granddaughter's wedding, no prosecution, no indictment, nothing. So it's this double standard, I think, that's infuriating people, and that's all that I'm saying about that. On the other issue, the left is after me. I think the reason is the movies.
Sure.
Because I've been writing books for 25 years, and they would be snide and so on about me, but they're in a scorched earth campaign after me, and I welcome it, because the point is I must be doing something right and annoying them immensely, and that's a little bit of a career goal of mine.
Because you're reaching more people now.
That's it.
Dinesh D'Souza, Annoying the Left. That could be your biography. Well, thank you very much for taking the time for us.
It's my pleasure.
Thanks.